What's up, everyone? Tiger Stacker here. Welcome. This is now January 1st, 2026. Happy New Year.
At Granger,
Oh,
we're
for
the ones
crying
who
out
pay
loud, I
attention to
turned
every
off that
word,
sound.
the ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat.
I
Sorry about
told you it
that.
was going to happen.
It's all. I turned off that sound. There's two windows that went a lot. Anyway,
Yeah, well, every time you're in an opening, you're going to have that happen. So
I
it's
thought I
just
fixed.
expected. It's all good. No worries.
So basically, we're here for a very important reason. I personally don't like to do New Year's resolutions because I always fail them. My New Year's resolution is not to make a New Year's resolution and keep doing the good stuff that I'm already doing and keep trying to improve the stuff that I'm not so good at. That's what I do every year. But we got an interesting topic. Teach everyone here, if you're so inclined, to how to make you a better stacker through better documentation. And this is going to be a two-part. We're going to do spreadsheets based upon what this guy has done. He's taken my concept of spreadsheets, which was designed mostly for weight and stacking, and has redesigned it for collecting and being a numismatist. So, welcome, Frosty.
Hey, what's going on, folks? Happy New Year. So, Tiger, one thing that's cool about doing this is if you look at your comments through StreamYard, you will see everything on both. If you type your comment in StreamYard, it'll go to all of them. So make sure you're not looking at your YouTube chat. Make sure you're looking at your StreamYard chat, and that way we'll be communicating with everybody.
And I've noticed from days past when we did a simultaneous stream that whenever there is a parentheses with a dash in the middle, that's coming from your side.
Yep. And remember, you're going to see multiple. So you'll see the link. So like you'll see Ashes. How you doing, sir? Good day. Happy New Year. You'll see on that thing, there's the link symbol on his name.
Yes.
And that indicates that it's part of the linked. So he came in on my channel.
Yeah,
So
that's the minus sign inside the parentheses.
yep. And so we'll be able to track that. So we can say hi. We know where people coming from, and we all is there.
Let me tell you, it's been a heck of a ride learning computers and YouTube. Did I ever tell you the first time I ever went live? It was about
No.
It was about 8 minutes. I was looking at stuff on my phone. I thought, "What's this little thing?" And I tapped it, and I went live on my phone, and saw that people could started popping in and could see me through the camera. So I put the camera face down because I just completely panicked and couldn't figure out how to turn it off. So I turned off the phone, and it stayed live for about 8 minutes. That was my very first live.
Nice. Hey, there's a birthday in the house. Happy birthday, Mike.
Happy
The
birthday!
random things I do say, ask his brother to do that. I recognize the full name, but we'll do it anyway. So happy birthday, Mike.
No, isn't it absolutely appropriate at this time of the year that Frosty goes and says, "Happy birthday"?
Sure. Referencing Frosty the Snowman, obviously.
Of course.
So let's dig into this. There's
You
a
didn't
lot
do
of
that
stuff
on
to cover.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, let's dig into this. We got a lot of stuff to cover, and I've got an hour.
Okay.
So I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay. And this is something you and I have talked about quite a bit. How do you guarantee um, the awareness of what you have in your stack, whether it's for purposes of buying, whether it's the sanctity and the sanity of your mind to make sure that you relay information about what you have and the value to your wife? What is it that you have? How do you manage that? How do you do that? Obviously, we told people what we're talking about today, but how do you manage that? Because I want to show one way to do it, not just from a numismatic side, um, primarily numismatic. However, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm going to go through one, and then on Monday, we're going to be talking about yours. So tell me what the purpose of your tracking sheet is. What is the bottom line when it comes to your spreadsheet?
Basically, in your profession, you do the same thing, but in ways that's specific for your profession. And the same way with mine. But both of our professions have one specific word, which I think would be a common denominator. That word is documentation.
Fact.
So I document as a physician appropriately as a physician, maybe a little bit too much because I tend to be that way because I don't want to have to remember things 2 weeks later, let alone 2 years later. So I started with documentation when I had a Ziploc baggie of precious metals. And I did it every night, and it was on paper, handwritten, calculator. And the bigger the stack got, the longer it took me to do it until my wife told me about Microsoft Excel. So I started monkeying with that and started fine tuning it. And it's pretty well fine tuned for what I do. And then, I would separate them based upon things that was important to me. Constitutional, the different types of constitutional, the sovereign coins, the non-sovereign rounds and bars, then things that I found just fun. For instance, I have a subsection that's just Trump because I somewhat like him. I'm not 150% Trump lover, but I like him a whole lot more than I like most people since Ronald Reagan. By the way, David Carlos gave you a $2 super chat.
I do.
Dude, you're rich.
Whichever channel you drop it in. So if you're in Frosties, it goes to Frosty. If you're in Tigers, it goes to Tigers. But here's the thing, Tiger and I have talked about this. The likes things, we'll still do like giveaways. We'll still do that kind of stuff because again, it's Stack Collector, right? So we're bringing this to you as a Stack Collector moment. So it'll all go back to Stack Collectors.
I don't know how that would happen, but okay, fine. I don't mind.
I'll explain. We track this. I keep a list.
Okay. So I have now basically a 12-page spreadsheet of the things that is precious metals. There's an additional 2-page spreadsheet because I got into junior miners and royalties, not big money, just enough that, I can start learning from it. And if I lost my shirt, it's not that much. But it's all on the spreadsheet. And we'll talk about more detail about it on Stack Collector. But that's how I started it. And what I found out was that you particularly was impressed that I was able to track a lot of my stuff. And then you started doing it for yourself for the way you do it, which is collecting the numismatics, and started including stuff like VAMs and years and variants like errors and double dies or whatever you call them, things that I don't follow that much. Because for me, it was mostly about weight, and mostly one, if I forget, I will be able to remind myself what I got, and two, even more importantly, when God calls me home, my wife will be able to see it. And I'm over time been getting away from the collectible fun stuff and trying to go more and more towards stacking. And mainly what happened with me a year plus ago with the sepsis and now the cancer.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm actually finding I like the boring stuff a whole lot more now that I've gone through this medical problems that I'm dealing with. I know that I can trust this to for my wife to learn quickly rather than have to deal with double dyes and VAMs and all that. And that's where my death letter I have in there for her to contact you and other people, so that if she doesn't know what in the world she's dealing with, she can talk to someone who's knowledgeable. So but in your case, your wife can take yours into a coin shop, show them. She might not know exactly what it is you put in there, but show it to a bullion dealer that does do numismatics, and they're going to know exactly what it is that you documented.
Yeah. And so again, the first thing you have to do, just like we were talking about stacking, we're talking about collecting, whatever it is you have to have a goal. Now, in chat, Mad Stackers here. Now, what Tiger and I do, if you guys have never really paid attention to Mad Stackers, how he tracks stuff, Mad does this on a whole nother level. He can tell you what date the coin was received, or the item was received, the bar was received, what date it was picked up by somebody, what event that was, the number. I mean, like it's cataloged. He does this for business-based style premise, but he also has his own personal stack. So he tracks this at a whole nother level. And what I want people to be aware of is that you can do this from the very simple. I'm trying to put together a typeset book. Okay. I need to understand what coins I have so that when I go to a coin shop or a coin show, I know exactly what I have. And so a spreadsheet in that is a very particular purpose. It's for a very particular subset, and that's fine. There are people like what I do, which I have to rebuild mine because when I had my computer loss, I lost all of my spreadsheet, and I've worked on rebuilding it. But what I do with mine is I break it out by type. And I'm going to walk you through this here in just a second. What Tiger does is Tiger, being a stacker and looking at things, is solely tracking weight and profitability because he wants to know what he has and he wants to know how much weight he has in what element so that he can make financial decisions and help set his wife up for, financial security should something happen to him. Now there's silver, silent silver. There's lots of different ways to do this. I'm just talking about 3 levels. There's tons and tons and tons and tons of ways to do this. So Tiger, if you'll do me a favor and pull up the screen, what I want to do is I want to walk through a couple of things with you.
Well, before you do that, I'm going to show you that Mad Stacker is probably a lot smarter than me. So I'm going to just briefly show you this right here. Hold on, let me go over here. I'm just going to show you a piece of it. This right here is my spreadsheet for weight and profitability, like you mentioned. Now, when I buy something that goes into the appropriate slots, it's already set up, and the calculations just kaboom, and it's done. When I sell something that I already own, I have to take it out of the weight section wherever it's at, take it out of the money section, which is another area which I don't want to show. Then I go into this spreadsheet, which I call my profit and loss, or capital gains and loss, and I add in the date I purchased, the date I sold, or whether it was a giveaway or what I sold it for, and it does the calculation. So I'm doing at least 2 spreadsheets, 3 if the product is a hold on a second here. 3 of them if it's a poured item. So I keep a spreadsheet solely on the poured item. So it sounds like Mad Stackers is all integrated, which is like really cool. So, kudos to you, my brother. So now I'm going to take my thing off, and I'm going to bring yours up.
Happy New Year, Steve. What's going on, brother? Okay, so this is something that's available for everybody. If you go to the community page, um, you go to my community page, you go to the very last post, you'll see this here. I'm constantly updating it for you, but I want to give you an idea of what you can do. Now, you can use this one if you want to. It's set up. I'm going to constantly be changing it. You're more than welcome to download it. You don't need to be a subscriber. If you use it, make it your own. Okay. But there are a number of different ways to break it down. And I'm going to show you a couple ways that I've broke it down. So here you're going to see a list of coins. Okay. So there's the Liberty Cap, left half, cent, 1793. I include the year. Now, the year in the description is important, so you know exactly what it is you're talking about. For the purposes that I utilize a spreadsheet for, or the reason that I built this particular one is to ensure that as my wife or my kids, because of I'm incapacitated or I'm out of the country on business, or maybe something happens and we lose cellular service or whatnot, and they need to turn something because we need to have some money or something come up. There are items in which they can come here and look at and go, ooh, I probably don't need to be messing with the numismatic stuff. I probably need to go down towards the bottom and look at the eagles and maybe some gold stuff, maybe some silver stuff, maybe some platinum stuff. And we can talk about stack. I don't have a lot of stack stuff in here because I just wanted to generate this as a template. But the other important reason is if you'll look at the fields, and you'll see, so I have some stuff here. I'm going to use dimes as an example for today because all of my stuff has been removed here for the purposes of this example. But you can include the mint mark. Now, if I have, one of these and I want to include that, that's fine. But this isn't how I would maintain this. This is just a list for you to start off of. If you want to add something, you can do it one or two ways. I use this as the header. And then what I would do is I would insert, and then I would indicate this is classic head. So everything under classic head would be, in this case, I'm going to say it's at 1808. Okay, that tells me the year. I have one of them. The mint mark is nothing, so there's none. The denomination is 1 cent, and I use this denomination. You don't have to. I'll explain to you why I use this later. I can make this a little bit bigger and move this around, and let me freeze this pane. Hold on. Let me freeze this pane. Okay, so now when I go through, it'll stay there so I can see it. Okay, so we'll come back over here. 1808, right? That's the year that I want. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do denomination, the date that I purchased it, 01/01/2026. Okay, the grade. This is going to be XF 45. We'll do 40. The type is obviously cent. It's a copper. Now, the copper is important because you'll track what's in here. We'll explain this a little bit later. The weight in this particular case, if you want to add the weight, that's fine. If you're looking at tracking this by metal content, you're going to want to add this. If you're looking at tracking this by numismatic content, you may want to get rid of this. You don't necessarily have this, but I'll show you why I have that there. The purchase price in this place is $345. That's what I spent on this one. And the current spot price. Now, for numismatic, you're not necessarily going to have a spot price, but we'll talk about spot price later. In this particular case, it is copper. So if I come over to my spot prices, which is over here, I'll show you, I have another place for this. I will have the spot price here, and they won't be here. This is just an example, just to show you. I would actually have another sheet for spot price. Matter of fact, let me do this. What in the world is that sound?
Unfortunately, that is my neighbor getting a tree cut down.
Okay. I'm like, what in the hell?
Actually,
So copper.
we're paying for it because we were thinking about getting solar put to the house, but the wife is pulling back on it because she didn't like the prices, but she wants the trees away from the house because under a bad storm we might get our house damaged. I thought they were done with this yesterday.
These are not going to be exact numbers, so just be aware of this. Okay. So what I can do is on my inventory, I can go over here.
Pete.
It does. It sounds horrible. It sounds like somebody's beating the hell. That's why I asked. So if I wanted to add the copper spot price on here, and again, you would have to have the weight to do the calculation, but I could actually come over here and hit the equal sign, navigate over to spot price, and then click on this particular field. So Tiger, one of the problems that I see with your list is if you're going to do this, you have to manually update each one of those spot prices in order to get your calculations. By doing something like this, where you call it to a specific field. So again, so we'll have copper here. So this ties to a very specific field. This one, again, if this is a copper one, I'm going to tie this to this particular field. And I'm going to say that this is that field. Now I have all this list in here. So what I do is, let's say the spot price goes to 550. So I change this to 550 here. Then when I go back to my inventory, it automatically updates all my spot prices for me.
Okay. Mine's
Okay.
mine's a little different. And I don't go into any great detail like you do with yours. But for me, I will show you here.
Well, no. Don't pull it up. We're going to talk about yours on Monday.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So we'll confuse people.
Okay.
So we'll talk about some of the sets. I can walk you through some of this stuff. I'm actually going to house kind of how to stack with Excel or how to collect with Excel, a video walking through some of this, Sue. So I'll actually go through some of these items, but there are ways to generate items to help you understand what you have, what it's worth. And if you do it smartly, if you really think about what you want, this is why it's important to understand, what do you want? What is your end goal? Okay. Once you have an end goal, then you can start to build it. Don't ever start building a spreadsheet or something like this for tracking without really having an end state in mind. What's up, Coach? Good to see you. So when that's all said and done, and I come over here, and again, I'm not adding any of this because I'm just not going to go through this with you. But what I can do is I can come over here. We have the spot price here, and then I actually have the pivots. Now, I told you that I was going to be looking at this particular set of items because my goal for tomorrow is I'm going to a coin show, and I'm looking for a very specific dime. The dime that I'm looking for is a seated Liberty dime. And unfortunately, I have two of them. Now, if I do it the way that Tiger builds his stack, it builds his sheet, I don't have the capability of being able to go into Michael Wells. I'll code into a few fields that have the current metal prices, recalculate values. Yeah, exactly. Right. And we'll go through all of that. That's exactly what I do as well. But the problem without tracking this is that, so I have two Liberty seated dimes, no stars. That's great. I have one Barber dime. That's great. It doesn't tell me anything. So if you just keep a stack based off of the item and you don't add any information, you can't really use it for much. It's just, oh, that's nice. I have 10 of these. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. If I am collecting a typeset book and I'm looking at upgrading something, then I want something very specific. I want to know exactly what I'm looking for. So if I'm in my inventory and I'm going to go through this really quickly and just choose a couple of these, and I'm going to change these ones that are onesie twosies. Okay. And some of these may be right, some of these may be wrong. It doesn't matter. I'm going to say the one I have is an O mint mark, and then these ones are all Philadelphia. No big deal. The denomination is here. I'm not going to worry about the grade, but I'm going to say that this one's an MS61. I'm going to say that this one is an MS63 or 62. I'm going to say this one is AU58. And I'm going to say this one is fine. Let's do fine 12. Okay. We'll just for instance. Now, when I go back to my pivot, I'm going to refresh this data. Okay. Because I've updated my stuff. Now, if I go to look at this bus dime, it's blank. Now, if I refresh all and that information comes in and populates, why is it not populating? I'm in dimes, the sort's there. Hold on. Why is it not refreshing? Yeah, that sounds absolutely like some cows getting beat to death. It's horrible. I can't get that example out of my ear.
I thought they were done with it yesterday.
I don't know why this isn't showing up. Let's add data labels. Yeah, see, and you can count the number that you want. I don't know why it's not showing up, but what should happen, and I'll have to check and see if I've done something wrong. It might be, oh, you know why? Because I'm not in dimes. Let's get to the dimes. I am in the wrong one. I'm in the large eagle. So let's go here. The Barber dime is going to be, let's do this. Let's do the mint mark New Orleans, and then the grade is MS65. Okay, and then we'll come up here and then we'll say, oh, we have two of these. The grades are, I would just say AU58. I'm not going to change these too much. We're just going to do a couple of these. And this one is MS61. Okay, that's why I have to be on the right field. So again, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? You got to be careful with that. And so when I refresh this table, this is going to come in and it's going to add my dates. Now, why is this important? Well, because if I'm going to go to a coin shop and I'm looking for dimes to fill a typeset book, or I'm doing a book or something like that, or I'm trying to increase the numismatic grade of a particular coin. Now, when I go to this, so I have this here, obviously this is 61. This is my drape. It doesn't tell me the year because I didn't include the year. But I only have one. So if I go back here and I type in, okay, so we have that here. Let's go put in the year. Where is the date? This is 18. Hold on. This is 1796. And let's say that this one is 1838. Okay. So again, I didn't have this all set up because I wanted to show you, you're going to have to add information and update it. Okay, so now if we look at these two coins, I know that I'm going to go to a coin shop and I'm going to be picking up some new elements. I'm going to be picking up some new coins. So what I can do is I can actually take a screenshot of this right here and say that I have one 1796 and MS61, and I have two 1838s and AU58. So I know, just like I did when I went with Checkstacker to meet him at a coin shop or a coin show, that when I go to that coin show, I am looking for a 1796 drape bust dime that's better than MS61. That way, I don't think that I'm there and I'm like, ooh, I need that 1796. I know that that's on my list. That's something that I wanted to upgrade. And I find a really good priced MS61. and I buy it, only to come home to find out, well, son of a gun, I already have one. And so if you're looking to save money and reduce duplicates, this is a good way to do that. So while you're trying to find something that does this, and again, you can get really complex. Start with a singular project, right? Start with a typeset book. Start with a tube. Let's say that you're collecting tube of American Silver Eagles, and you want to have one of every year. Document what you have. Document, again, if they're graded, if you want to have them slabbed and you want to have them all at an MS 70 grade, but you have the 1996 at an MS 69, document that. Then you can go through and you can actually look at what you need. And then when you're at the shop, you'll be able to identify exactly what you're looking for. It helps do a couple things. Number one, it helps you to alleviate the FOMO purchase, or that, oh my God, I don't know if I should get that. It's the right price. I've been looking for one. Is that the right one? I can't remember. You buy it, you spend $300, $400, $500 only to find out you bought one you already had. It's really depressing when you get home and you go to put that in there and you're like, son of a gun, it's the same thing. I just spent $400 or $500 on something that I already have. So building something in this construct, building something like this is definitely something that will help you when you're doing coin shows, when you're doing coin shops, when you're going to bullion dealers, or when you're talking to people online trying to tell them exactly what you're trying to get. It's going to help you narrow down your search, and it's going to save you time. But there's an added benefit, and this is where Tiger and I get really specific about what we look for, why we look for certain things. And that is my wife and my kids. My wife and my kids can take this. They can take this inventory list by what I have, by the year and the grade, and they can provide this to a coin shop. In my in the place that I store all my coins offsite, in the document safe, I do the same thing. My wife has her passports, that all the other stuff documented and listed, so that if something comes up, we know what's in there. We know where to go find it. You can get really complicated with this if you want to, and you can take this to a whole nother level. Tiger, can you push mute, please?
Okay.
Thanks, dude. You take this to a whole nother level. And so whatever you do this with, it doesn't matter. The premise behind this, the reason behind this is making sure you know exactly what it is in your stack. Now, this helps you with organization on paper. It doesn't necessarily help you with organization in a safe or in a place that's off-site. And so you can increase this. Michael Wells says at one point I had something like this, but it was way more complex. And just resorted, take photos of pages and do stuff like that and put them in coin albums. It doesn't matter how you do that. It all comes to cataloging. And that's exactly what you're doing here. You're cataloging the items that you have. And the reason that that's so important is if I have, and I'm going to use Harlan J. Burke, and I have this list, it's all put together, it has all the years, it has all the grades, and I say, hey, sweetheart, the guy you want to talk to is Mike Nodelman. Or if you can't get a hold of him, let's go to Lost Dutchman Rare Coins. You're going to talk to Matt Dinger, and you're going to provide him this list. And you're going to say, we have funeral costs or something, and we need to raise 10 grand. What would you recommend selling? I could sell a lot of the smaller stuff, or I could sell a few of the larger things. They can look at this list and provide you a very, very, very good assessment of exactly what you have. They can tell you which coins that they would select to send in for grading, or perhaps something really rare in here that should go into for grading. Maybe there's something that should go into a list or something of that nature. Maybe it's in one of the registries, right? And so because I would have this so documented, so clear, it's easy for people to look at this and say, here is a really good assessment of exactly what you have. Yeah, I'm going there next, Michael. Going there next. You and I are on the same freaking page. Um, and so if you don't see what he put in chat, it's like making a complete inventory is great for insurance purposes too. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I would never share this with insurance. You would in the case of a house fire. Okay. Um, and so there's a couple things about where you would store these kind of things and how you would track that. Hey, what's up, Robert? Good to see you. Um, no, so Frank, we're doing this on 4 different streams. Okay. So you're in a vertical stream, somebody else is in a horizontal stream. You may be on Tigers. Um, so you won't see everybody's chat. This is why we're reading them out loud, right? Not a lot of people are chatting right now, but if it comes in, you're going to do that. Making inventory is good for, like Sue said, for jewelry, artwork, anything of genuine value. You should be tracking what you have because not just for insurance purposes, but for turning it over. You can hand those things to people who are in the know, and it makes their decision way easier. I can't tell you how many times I've had people in the community come up to me and say, "Hey, Frosty, I want you to look at my collection with me." And it's like, outstanding, great. Send me a list. And they're like, "Um, you want me to look at every coin and document what I have?" I'm like, "No, just send me a list of some of the stuff that you have." And they're like, "I have dimes and quarters." Oh, great. Okay. Send me some photos. And then they send me a stuff of the state quarters. That's great. State quarters are not going to be as valuable as if they sent me a tube of um, standing Liberty quarters or seated Liberty quarters, right? And so having something like this, it's not something that you absolutely have to do, but it is something that really does benefit you. The key to all of this, regardless of what you want to do, is having a strategy. If you have a good strategy, you will set yourself up for success. There's an adage that my granddad used to tell me, and it's something that I firmly believe in. And it's like, you want to make $1 million. Yes. Why are you asking your neighbor for financial advice? They're in the same boat you are. If you want to have somebody that has 10, 20, 30, 150, 250 million, $1 billion, those are the people you want to ask those questions to because they've done it and they've done it again and over and over and over and over again. They can replicate it without issue. If they lost everything in 6 months, they could get their $1 million business back, multi-million-dollar business back. They understand the strategy, they understand the practice, they understand those efforts. And so what I want to do is I see good ideas and good information, I want to improve them for you. I want to continue to add. This is why we bring people in. This is why I want people to look at tigers on Monday when we break tigers down, and I want you to look at the way that I've constructed mine. Now, if you want to get fancy, and this is just something that I've done, you can actually look at where you're at in relation to the quantity of items that you have. Now, this is really cool, and I know it's small. It's a freaking eye chart for many of you, and I apologize. The area that I'm going to is to the right side of those 2 large peaks, and I'm going to click on denomination. Now, I have this sort by denomination. I can list everything, which is extremely unruly, or I can look at the very specific denomination that I want to track. This is going to allow me to say, hey, I want to get a tube of Barber dimes, but I only have one. Okay, well, that's fine. It's easy. You look, you only have one. But now I know that if I want to focus on getting a tube of Barber dimes, then I want to track on that particular item. I can actually go under here on dimes, right? So I'll just select dimes. Again, 10 cents. Okay, that shows up. There's not going to be a change. And then I can come over and I can actually sort. I can actually bring in the denomination and sort this even further by doing the name, the item name. So I can actually take the item name and drop that into here. And I'm going to bring the item name and I'm going to do select multiples and I'm going to take that out. And I only want to do Barbara Dimes, right? So I'm going to come down here and find Barbara Dimes. Where are you, Barb? That's Barbara Dimes. Hold on. Where did my dimes go? There we go. Barbara Dimes. Okay. And now I obviously put that back into here. Now I can actually track specifically by Barbara Dimes. And so there's a lot of different uses for this. Yes, it can become extremely daunting if you try to start from scratch. Hey, Jack Riley, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Happy New Year. It can be daunting if you're starting from scratch. So start small. Start with a project. Start with something that is manageable, baby steps, and do it. Get it done. Put it together, and then go to the next item, and then add that to your sheet. If you want to do multiple sheets down here at the bottom, you can do multiple tabs, no problem. But figure out what you want to do. Do it in small, manageable bites, and then you'll be able to, again, come back over here and look at this. Now, on my pivots, again, now I have my pivot, and I can change this by clicking on the pivot and actually looking at the various times that are here. I could do it here. So I can pull all of them up, and I can see all of my dimes, again, populate. But I can also look here and see how many of these elements that I've tracked by metal type. So as I put them in, if I'm tracking the metal type, I can do the counts of these by tracking the type. So again, inventory, metal type, copper. So as you put stuff in, it can actually help you count how many things of silver do you have? How many things of gold do you have? How much is your weight? And then you can begin to understand when Yankee or Seeker or Mad or Tiger or myself start talking to you about, having a 90% to 10% silver to gold setup. Or if you want to have really old numismatic items by date, maybe you want to have, 0.5% of your stack be early American coinage. You can do that. So you can make this, again, as complex as you want to. The thing here is just have a plan, have some sort of tool to track and monitor that plan. And from that, grow, develop, become better. And so that's the reason for doing this. So Tiger, I asked you to put you on mute. There was a lot of background. I appreciate you doing that. Let's go ahead and take this off. Let's bring us back up and let's just chat about this. So is this something that you guys are looking at doing? And let's just start having discussions in chat.
Well, I started mine shortly after I started stacking 4.5 years ago.
Oh, you want to unshare that screen for me?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I started stacking 4.5 years ago. And at that time, I knew a whole lot less than what I know now. And I was mainly focusing on stacking channels. Lynette Zhang, Yankee, Silver Dragons, Silver Joker, and knew nothing about the world of numismatism. So
Numismatics.
I know. I just wanted to see if I could, how long you would go before you tried to correct me.
It didn't take very long.
I noticed that. That's why I did it.
I always joke with Paula Bloom about numismaticists. She's like, you can see her twinge.
She probably would tolerate it more from me not being a numismatist, saying wrong words, than she would tolerate it from you. So basically, all joking aside, I started, like I said, on a very basic level, on paper, handwritten, went to Excel spreadsheet, and me being the not so great computer person that I am, I didn't even know that you could do all the stuff that I see you do with Excel. So, it's a lot better than what I did by hand. It's not at the high level that you do, but then I just adapted and made new areas and new math and had different blocks do different things. And yeah, it makes sense to me because I built it. To someone else, it might take them a little while to quite understand how I did it. And then I've found out there's a lot of people out there that's like me that I don't understand the computer world. So, they might love what you do. Then again, they might not care to have that level of detail, and they might want to create their own. So, and so I hope I answered what you asked for.
Yeah, so there's something that I use all the time in my professional world, and I'm going to share this with you. If you'll pull this up, Tiger.
Okay.
This is something that all of you should be doing with your stacks and your collections. If you take nothing from this today, I want you guys to screenshot this. If you're on your phone, you're on your computer, go to the snipping tool. If you don't know where the snipping tool is on your IBM, just go to the search bar and type in the word snip, and it'll bring up a snipping tool. You can take a screenshot of this. So this is the evaluation cycle. So the first thing you have to do is plan, right? Now, after you start this, planning becomes part of your cycle. But the first thing you should do is plan. Figure out your idea, your construct. Am I going to be a stacker? Am I going to be a stack elector? Am I going to be a collector? Am I going to be a purist? What is it I'm going to do? Am I going to collect, numismania or semi-numismatic items? Am I going to be collecting medals or tokens? What is it that I'm going to be collecting? So document it, figure it out, get it together, start your idea, and then you start collecting, right? Now, the collecting is where you get your data. You go buy a coin, you come in, you put it into your spreadsheet. That is collecting data. And what that data is going to help inform you when you run your report, which is the third element, is what have you done? It's going to help you inform yourself of how much money am I spending on things? Am I spending the money that I want to spend on the right items? Am I taking the information that I'm learning and implementing it in a way that's going to be beneficial and conducive to my end goal, which in my case is stability for my family? And so every few years, you need to go back through or every few months, excuse me, you need to go back through and look at this and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I've done. This is what I've learned. Reassess what you've done. Make a determination. Identify what it is you want to do. Go to your store. Go to your coin shop. Go to your coin show. And then purchase that element that you've discovered that you want, need, or desire. And then add that to your sheet. Now you have that data. And so this is a continuous process. We call it CPI, continuous process improvement. But here it's just continuous stack improvement. This is a way to generate wealth. This is a way to generate consistency, to help improve. It eliminates waste. So if you utilize these tools, you'll find that you start accumulating more wealth without the waste, without the redundancy. And you may want redundancy. That's fine. But if that's part of your strategy, you don't want redundancy just because. One thing you do want redundancy is storing their data, because you want to make sure that you have this on a computer, you have this in paper form, just in case anything happened with your IT. We'll talk about that more in depth when we talk on Monday on Tiger's channel about the ways he tracks his spreadsheet, because that's extremely important to discuss. That's why, because of the volume of the information, we've split this into 2 different live streams. And you can stop sharing. I think people have gotten that. Hopefully that makes sense. If that makes sense, folks, do me a favor, put a 1 in chat, just so that we're understanding if that makes sense to you. Southern Coin. What's interesting is I'm working on a spreadsheet and having this as background noise. Oh, the irony. No, it's great. It means that you have a focus. You know what you're doing. It's great. And this is why Tiger and I wanted to do this today. We had talked about this for a few weeks about how we were going to do it and putting stuff together. And I just felt that, you know, we talk about spreadsheets, but we really haven't talked about the type. We really haven't talked about the true reasons behind them, and that one single spreadsheet is not conducive to everybody. And so we wanted to break this down a little bit and, again, bring you the best community information we can. And Tiger just opened up his second Red Bull, or he's doing his nasal mist.
I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting here scratching my head. Why?
No, I just heard. It's
No,
no.
I must be stuffy.
It's it's either that or background noise still. But
No,
it's working on you.
If it sounds like a sniffle, maybe I'm stuffy because I suffer from allergies.
Southern Coin. I've got 2 spreadsheets at the moment. One is inventory to buy, sell trades, and the other one I'm working on now is me compiling info for a coin book. Outstanding. Now here's the thing: merge them. Keep them separate, but merge them. How do you do that? Well, you take some of your data, add a secondary tab, and do your output in that secondary tab. Now you have it for reference. So if there's something that you want to sell that's in your other stack, you don't have to go open your second spreadsheet. You can actually tie that tab directly to that spreadsheet by something called VLOOKUP. And every time you add something to that other sheet, it'll automatically populate in the spreadsheet. Cool stuff. You can't do it in reverse. Well, actually, you can do it in reverse. It takes a little bit of time, but there's ways to combine your spreadsheets. So again, when you know your strategy, when you know what you're trying to accomplish, it's amazing what'll happen. And I promise you, if you track this stuff, you'll find, if you don't track it, you'll never know. But if you track it and you're smart about it and you really look back at what you've done, you'll find out that if you do this 2026 and you didn't do it in 2025, you'll end up with more or better items and you will have spent less for them, because you will not have spent and bought redundantly, which is a massive problem in the hobby. Massive problem in the hobby.
Or it might, if you're just doing straight stacking, redundancy doesn't matter because, for instance, I'm putting together a guardhouse box of silver dimes. And if you're not worried about a book, a typeset book, you know, I don't care if I got redundant in the tubes and in the box. I just want the tubes filled, I want the box filled, and I will move on to the next project. It depends on what you want to accomplish. You know.
Now, yeah. So you said something really important there, and it ties to what's something that Matt Wynn. She said, "I love the spreadsheet idea, detailed notebook of purchases, spot price, seller dates, etc." Here's the thing. I've got some coins here. Matter of fact, I got to find it. There we go. Look at that. It didn't take me very long. It's right there. Tiger goes to another level, right? And that is he actually
Let me make you big.
Okay. This is the same thing I do when I send a photo to my wife. Sorry. He lists the price, the date that he bought it at. And again, if you look at this, July 24th, 1923, he purchased this at $38 with the premium. This is a really nice ship coin. And so he bought this $38. Outstanding. Okay. So a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I had to think about how long it was. I purchased this coin for spot price from Tiger at $54, $55. Something like that. Okay. Now, Tiger goes in and says, okay, well, this particular coin I sold it for $54. He gets an instantaneous, and I mean instantaneous output of his profit margin. There's no question. Now, what's fun is he can look at the spot price. If you track spot price, it's now at 70 plus. I know it's crazy. But if you put the spot price at the time of purchase and then today's spot price, you can also locate the premium. You can also locate how much you spent over spot. You can look at the premium now. So there's a lot of really good detailed data that you can get depending upon how complex you want to get. But if you really want to build finance, you really want to build wealth, the more data that you have, it'll help you. And if you want to challenge me on this, why is it that Google and Facebook and everybody are so adamant about collecting every ounce of data on you? Because data is money. And if you track data, you track it smartly, you can make really smart, informed decisions. And that can help inform purchases, that can help inform what you do. And it's a really good track against your baseline goal, which in our case is wealth preservation, not for us because we're going to pass away, but for our families. And so it's really important to look at some of these things and go back to know this. Now, technology, being the devil that it is, can actually help you find some of this stuff. So if you want to know what spot price was July 24th, matter of fact, I'm going to do this for, what was spot on July 24th, 2023? The spot price of silver, let's be a little bit more clear. The spot price at that time was between $24.60 and $25 an ounce. So Tiger paid $13 premium on that piece. It's a high premium, right? Now, you take that, you look back, you look at that piece and what could you get it for? You put that information into there. How much power is that? It's massive amount of power.
Well, not only that, you look at where I got it from. The EPM means Empire Precious Metals. So that was a auction on Stormy's channel.
Oh, so that's another piece of data that you could track. Now, for those of you that run auctions or games, plug your ears because you're not going to want to hear me say this. Auctions are not a good place to buy stuff.
No,
they're a fun place to go.
That's true.
But they're not the best place to go. Now, at some auctions, you can find good prices, but there's something if you like auctions or races, and that's discipline. If you are not disciplined, and I don't say this to be like, shame on you, nah, you're not disciplined. If you struggle with it, then avoid it. Right? You can deal with it or just avoid it. And there's a lot of people who get wrapped up into high tempo hype. Yeah, that's exactly right. And next thing you know, oh man, I have spent way too much money on a piece.
Now, this one was Money Metals Exchange on August 16, 2021. And it was definitely not an auction. And I got it at a decent online bullion price. So.
And that's gold?
That's gold.
Okay, so the spot price on August 16, 2021 was $17.7862 per ounce. So this is the really cool thing about technology is you can actually look through. So he actually got this for about $100 over, about $110 over spot price, which for premium for gold, that's not actually that bad. You know, you're looking at about, what would that be? A 1% premium, a 10% premium?
Hold on, pulling out my calculator.
Well, you don't really need to. What was the price on it? Just show me the price.
You said it was basically $100 above.
It's 110. Yeah.
110. So 1897, I think, is what it was. That was 5.3%.
Okay, so 5.5% on gold, was a pretty decent spot price. So when you look at the futures price for that particular one, the futures price was 1789. So he paid 5%, right? So again, 5% in on that particular element. Now, if he was to sell that today, right? So if you take that, what was the total price on that again?
Hold on. 1897 and a quarter.
So we just do 1897 minus gold spot price. Then you can get your calculation and it tells you, you know, how much he's paying. And so if he were to sell this, he could have bought it at about $81 per gram and he could sell it at $139 per gram. So it tells you that per gram, he's getting at about $58 profit. That's a significant profit. So the amount of information that this can provide you by setting it up properly is unreal. But again, start small, right? And so identify what it is that you want to do. Identify how you want to do it. Put your plan together. And if you want to know more, again, the spreadsheet's available for you. Manipulate it, do whatever you want to. I'm going to be constantly updating it with elements and questions as people come up with stuff. I'll be putting things in there. I know that Michael Wells says that he's got some stuff. So maybe I'll work with Michael's, share with him the actual behind the scenes editing stuff, and he can put some stuff in there. And then we can make this a community driven template that anybody can use, right? And we'll limit the number of people who have editing capability, but you'll just be able to download and then use it. And then if we have any major revisions or something of that nature, then we can make those, let the community know, and then you can adjust accordingly. And so however your strategy, whatever your stuff is, there's ways as a community that we can use the knowledge and the abilities and the assessments of all the people in chat right now to make us all better and smarter collectors. That's what Tiger and I want to do. We want to make this, for lack of a better word, a crowdsourced based learning experience. And this is why we want your opinions. This is why we want your feedback. This is why we want your input, because that's going to help us make sure that we're talking about things that are relevant to you. And this is something, I don't care where you're at in your world, this is relevant to you. And so Tiger and I wanted to come together and share this with you. We are at 3:33 my time. We're at our typical hour. Tiger, I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I want to open it up to chat and ask, do you want to continue this? Do you want to go for a little bit longer? Do you guys want to end it? What would you guys like to do? Tiger, what is your schedule like?
Well, as soon as we're done, I'm going to check with the wife. She wants to go see the movie David, about, you know, King David when he was a little boy.
Heard that's a good show. Paula was telling me about it. She went to see it the other day.
Yeah. The missus doesn't like cartoon movies that much, but she was told it was really excellently done. So she wants to go. And
Bifrost and I went.
Not so easy.
Say that again.
Getting her out of the house is not so easy. So when she offers to have a date with me, I jump it.
You want to rephrase that?
Hey, I'm allowed to be a smart aleck. I'm an old dude. That's about the only fun I get, is being a smart aleck.
Compton's like, Frosty. Oh, come on. That was funny. I mean, he's the one. He's the one that said, hey, we are married. When the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to jump on it too. So I will leave it to you. Do you want to go on for a little bit longer? We can also leave this up to chat, whatever you want to do. I'm good with whatever.
Hold on. You talk a little bit. I'm muting myself. I'm going to call the wife and see what she says.
Copy that. Sounds good. Frank, I have an idea for everyone. Share it, brother, please. My son is stopping to grab a drink, so I went to Jack Riley. I joined late. Hey, no worries, man. I appreciate you being here. And again, folks, if you don't know who Jack Riley is, Jack Riley has done a lot with anti-counterfeiting, looking at Morgan dollars, trying to help people identify things like those micro O's, looking at the CCs, things of that nature. Um, hold on, let me send my son a message. He's stopping at the convenience store for something to drink for us. So, um, he went to go help a friend of his with a fish tank. And so he's on his way back saying, "Hey, do you want something to drink?" So I'm going to do this. Been thinking about this for a while. Chuck is selling the collection. What if we all got together as a group and bought it? Oh, see, that's a really good idea, Frank. We need to come together and talk about that. There's a couple really cool things about that. There's a couple problems with that. One of the problems with that is how do you disseminate it, buying it as a group? The other thing is how do you manage that? You'd have to figure out um, some kind of special way to do that. I think it's a great idea. I definitely want to help. For those of you who don't know, Copper Coin said that he's backing out of. He's keeping his stuff. He's going to continue to work and do stuff. Um, he's going to kind of step away from a lot of different things. He's still going to stay into numismatics. He's still going to investigate stuff and work with people. He's just not going to be doing the YouTube thing, and he's not going to be doing all of his buying and selling and stuff that he does with the community. So I absolutely think that that's a great idea. We definitely need to support Copper Coins. Let's. It's unreal. It's insane, and the quality, the level of stuff that he does. Again, now Chuck is one of these people that has talk about documented and cataloged and labeled and categorized. Unreal. Chuck and Tiger are probably the two people that I pull the majority of my information from. The construct of my sheet basically came from the idea of what Chuck does in his books, how he labels them, how he documents them, how he identifies them, and he's tracks it. He understands this very well, and he's able to turn something and find something really quickly because of it. And so I absolutely believe we should be helping Copper Coins. Again, Chuck Daughtry is an amazing person. So Frank, reach out to me. Let's discuss in depth. Let's talk with some people. Let's get some players engaged and involved. Um, I think that's a really cool idea. There would be some work, but let's do that. I think it's a great idea. Anyway, back to Jack Riley. Sorry, deviated a little bit. If you want to know more, you can check out his stuff on Proxy Blog. You can check out his stuff on, I think you were on Coin Week. But he drops a lot of great information in my chats. I'm trying to work with him to get some audio issues taken care of. So periodically he can come in and do some audio stuff. But yeah, 2 on Coin Week. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's a wealth of information. You guys also know Jack Young trying to do this stuff. So lots of great information. And make sure you check him out. Go read his articles. And if you have questions about collecting certain items or elements and you're just not sure, send me some information. I'll reach out to Jack. Jack will give me his feedback and I'll respond back to you. If you give me a coin and say, "What do you think?" I'm going to tell me you got to give me more. I need to know what exactly you're looking for. But there's some amazing people in the community on both Tiger and Mai's channels that are here to support. So utilize us, utilize our network, utilize our construct in 26. Help us grow the channel, but help us grow this community. That's ultimately what Tiger and I are about. Are you back?
Yeah, she told me about an hour and a half is when the movie is, and it's not far from the house. It's across the highway.
But you're going to have to get together and get stuff together. So we probably need to go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay. I like wraps, especially chicken wraps.
Did you hear that Snoop Dogg won an amazing Christmas decorating competition?
This another dad joke?
He's got some amazing rapping skills. What do you say?
Oh boy, I knew it was going to be a dad joke.
Yeah, always is. Jack Riley, new article coming out in a few days. The fake Lafayette dollars. Ooh, I know a couple people that would be interested in that. The Lafayette dollars were really interesting pieces. A lot of history behind those. So I'll be looking for the advanced copy on Facebook. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So, but anyway, hey folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Tiger, thanks for allowing me to dual stream this, to come up and chat with you about this. Folks, I just wish you guys a wonderful 2026. Personal plug, I need 123 subs to 7K. So do me a favor, share it out. And again, promoting Stack Collector and Tiger's channel. Please make sure you're going over. If you're on mine, go over to Tiger's. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're a Tiger's, come over to mine. Make sure you're subscribed. And let's grow these channels so that we continue to put out content for the community.
Yeah, we need to get to be bigger channels, because the bigger we are, the more the algorithm will push us, and the more information gets out there. So please, be part of the success for the channels, because it's going to be a part of the success for everyone out there. And as I always tend to say, especially the newbies.
Yep. Freaking Awesome has liked and shared this out. Now, folks, I want to call out Freaking Awesome. Freaking Awesome is in a bunch of channels as a moderator. And when I went through my 2025 analytics, I wanted to see who was the top person in my chat. And there were different people that sent messages or that commented on streams. Freaking Awesome doubled the amounts of likes and shares by almost 3 times anybody else. So Freaking Awesome, I appreciate you, bud. I appreciate you promoting the channel, and I've got something for you. So I know we've been talking about getting together. Schedules have been nuts with year end and then the season coming out and trying to get stuff rolling. Some illnesses on both sides of the family, and we got to connect. But I've got something for you that I want to give you as a thank you. So folks, make sure you tell Freaking Awesome, because again, you'll see him everywhere, and he really does support people. So make sure you give him a big thank you.
Which technically means he's picked a really good channel name.
That's fact. Yeah, but you spell it right? It's Free King, not Freaking. Awesome, and then it's spelled interesting as well. If you have it in your phone, type it in correctly, and then overwrite the copyright, the copy paste auto text correcting, and put his name in there properly, and it'll never auto correct you to the wrong name again.
So,
but anyway, I'm done. That's all I have to say, folks. Again, thank you so much for being here, for supporting us the way that you have, and look forward to a lot of good content coming up in 26.
You got anything interesting coming up other than our Stack Collector on Monday?
So obviously I do my live streams Saturday and Sunday morning. I'm trying to determine right now whether or not I'm going to be talking about the San Francisco Mint. With it being New Year, people taking time off, I might not. It may just be kind of willy-nilly talk about coins. Let's talk about what happened in 2025. Bring some stuff up. Maybe have Jack talk about some of the counterfeits that he have. Just drop tons of information into the streams. I'll be dropping periodic channel. I am on a massive push to get those last 120 subscribers. And so I'm going to be dropping a bunch of content over the course of the next couple of weeks, because my goal was to hit 7K by today. I'm a little short, but I will get there by the end of the next maybe week or two.
That's not so bad. I've got a live dropping tomorrow. No, I've got a video dropping tomorrow. A concentrated version of the live that I did with Daniel Diaz and Chris Pritt. It's going. We talked a lot about putting sound money in West Virginia, but there was so much information on there about how legislators work, and it's not only just for my state. It is good information for all states. So I want to tell you all that it's scheduled to be dropped plus or minus 4 p.m. tomorrow. So please come by and see that. That's going to be a really awesome education for everyone, because if we want sound money in our community, this is how we do it. And the basic rules work for no matter what state you're in. You want something done in your government, you got to push the legislatures. Oh, Frank, you must be hanging out with nickel stacking. He always talks about tiger gloves. You guys got to quit spreading rumors. Anyway, all joking aside, that's coming out. I think maybe Saturday I'm going to do a live for members only. I'm going to give them a voice on how I'm going to go with the channel, what they want to see done with the channel. Then we got Stack Collector on Monday, which we've talked about. I have a video that's being edited. I did a interview with Jesse Day from Commodity Culture, and we talked about a lot of really cool stuff. So that's coming out, and I've got a couple other videos that I have yet to film. So just wanted to let you know that that's all coming out for you all. So that's all I've got to say about what's coming up for me. So make sure you go see this guy over here. And like you said, subscribe. But as I always tell everyone, make sure you hit the like button, the bell notification, leave a comment. That will tell the YouTube people you're not a bot and they won't take you out.
Fact.
So
I have just dropped both on Tiger's and my channel's memberships. And so I want to read these. Rogue, 3D Woodworks, Doug Wagoner, SW331, Joey Brown, Craig Shelby, Jay Catching Silver, Ray Davies, Seven Stacks, Joey Brown, Larry Singh, Bello Forge, JR Grundy, Raspberry Hedgehog. You've all received memberships to either Tiger or my channel. So congratulations.
thank you.
Again, just want to make sure that you guys know how much we appreciate you.
I appreciate you doing that. Thank you, Frosty. It is New Year's, so I'm going to do one here. I got to get over to your channel because I want you to build too.
Ah, check that out. Matt Winch says, "Nice, Frosty, awesome." And then the first gifted membership from you is Matt. Oh, how awesome is that? Silver and Cigars, Dasmus, JL Centario, and Steve looking for silver. All got gifted memberships from Tiger as well. So very cool. Yeah. And again, we just want you all to understand how much we appreciate you. The engagement, the feedback, the information, the willingness for you guys to ask questions. Tiger, 5 gifted memberships on mine. Sockdown Amy, Sloppy, Dizzy Giraffe, Silver Addiction, and Jeb Meister. Again, thanks, Tiger. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Again, it's just one of those things where we want you to understand that the culmination of the development of this is something that is appreciated. And we really do think of you as family. We really do think of you as people that we want to help improve, because again, That's what this community is about. That's what Stack Elector's about. That's what Tiger and I are about. So hopefully you guys realize that. Hopefully you know that. And again, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to both of the channels. Greatly appreciated.
Okay. Well, I've covered everything. How about you?
I'm absolutely golden.
Okay. Sounds like it's date night.
Go have fun with your wife. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to go hang out. We're going to start cooking our New Year's dinner. And so,
Are you sending over a care package over here?
yeah, we'll talk about that.
Just don't label it hazmat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm going to do a live. We're going to bring that up. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be a fun one.
It will be. All right. Well, night, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Bye-bye.